This is Nino of the 2 Cents Podcast. First of all, let me thank the man upstairs for waking me up. Please, people, continue to hit them subscriptions, subscribe to my followers, my audience, and my fans. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to my people that I usually shout out to. What's going on to my brother, Mr. David Parker, USA Podcast. What up, MJ? That's my son. What up, Zion, my grandson? What up, Marlon? Norris? What up, Big Dre? What up, Marco? Coach D? Blueski? What up, baby? What's going on? Luther? What up, Bruce? What up, Bruce? Saginaw Bruce? What's up? What's going on, Bruce? Saginaw, Michigan Bruce. That's a cool guy right there. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, man, what's up going on with y'all? What's up, Rod Strick 9? Donnie, what up, Herb, what up, Humph, what's going on with you, what's popping, how y'all doing, man? Appreciate y'all chiming in and, giving me a little recognition. What up, B.A. Baracus, my partner, B.A., how you doing, man? What up to you, what's going on, what up, Big Dre, what's going on with you guys? Anybody I missed, please, forgive me. Oh, no, hold on. I got to always shout out to my ladies. I'm moving too fast. What's up to Miss Lucille? Hope you get well. Miss Val, Miss Valeria. What's going on to Miss Mary Bell? What's up, Miss Erica? What's up, Miss Shelley? Miss Naomi? What's up, Miss Daisy? Miss Allie? Miss Amber? What's going on? Hey, what up, Kim? What's up, Miss Kim? What's going on to you? What up, Miss Jackie? I seen Miss Jackie. Good to see her. What it do? Anybody else I forget, I will have more podcasts. And if I forget y'all, please forgive me. I'm going to dive right off into this. No more devices in the classrooms. Man, people, this should have been coming. This should have been coming. I mean, I'm all with cell phones, the technology, the new technology. I know this is the 21st century and everything, things like this. But this should have been implemented. This should have been one of the laws that pertains to school. I mean, for kids, it's been a long time coming. I don't know why it took them so long to even make this decision. Starting September the 1st, that's fall. And Texas is one of the states that's going to really lay the law down and exercise this law. Starting September the 1st, many schools are moving towards restricting or banning the use of personal devices like cell phones in classrooms to minimize distractions and improve focus. This trend is fueled by research indicating that all cell phones negatively impact cognitive capacity and learning. However, some educators and experts advocate for responsible use policies that will integrate technology into learning. Well, some of them are with it and some of them are against it. But my thing about it is I'm more for banning it than not banning it, because if you are going to let the use of cell phones, you got to make sure these kids ain't on their cell phones all, tapped in on Facebook or TikTok, and you up there trying to teach them world history or mathematics or algebra, or you trying to teach them something in the fine arts, you trying to teach them social studies or something like that. If you're going to have them using cell phones and you're going to use that, you're going to have to keep a steady eye on what they have programmed and what they are looking at. Because as I just said, these kids you will be up there as you teachers, going over things, reappointing things, telling what today's working class is, what you expect. And you'll think they totally dialed in and listen to what's today's study or what they have to do to get their studies going, or what's today's class, and they're looking at TikTok, social media. I mean, they're looking at all kind of different platforms. It's not TikTok, YouTube, all kind of things on there for them. They either playing games, they streaming. A lot of times these young kids be streaming. So I'm more for put the cell phones down when you're in the classroom, because the classroom is serious. And that's why you are having a decline in the percentage of kids that are graduating, that are even coming to school. Because again, it's going to be a knock on the teachers. Because what I see with it too, with these cell phones, what the teachers are trying to teach them, these kids are basically just look up Google and find out any kind of word that they don't know, any kind of meaning that they're looking for, and any kind of term that they're just trying to grasp. Teaching, restricting, or banning devices. Again, teaching, restricting, or banning these devices. Distraction. Cell phones are a significant source of distraction in the classroom, impacting student focus and engagement. They take out the student focus because the students don't have no focus no more. Students are coming in, sitting down, class maybe be 30, 45 minutes. They so worried about what's going on the social media as far as who has the most likes, what interesting rappers doing this, who is a major influence as far as women as the guys, who is a major influence as the women, also as the females, who is a major influence as far as the fellas. That's what they're worrying about now. They're not really worrying about what's going on as far as their studies. They really don't. I mean, in this daytime, you can just see how it tells when these young kids come for a job. They'll come and they'll get hired on, and then if they don't like the job, by time lunchtime, they'll go to lunch and won't come back because they are so caught up in the social media and devices and their cell phones that they be like, hey, I don't need no job. I don't need to work hard. I don't need to go step by step like old school people like I have did and other people that before their time have done, build themselves a foundation as far as a financial foundation. These kids today, man, they're just like come to a job. If they don't like it, they can make so much money off social media, streaming, sending pictures, likes, doing all kind of things, earn out their business on social media, and that goes back to the cell phone. So that's the cell phone right now is one of the most dangerous weapons where you can see good or bad. And if you don't even look at it as a weapon, it is one of the most dangerous resources, good or bad, because it is good to have a cell phone, if you need emergency, if you're personal use. But it's not good to have no cell phone in no classroom because that's why the percentages of kids are not even, making their curriculum. They are not even making their grade. Half the kids don't even come to school, and when they in the classroom again, their focus is not on that teacher that explaining what today's class is about, what the lesson is, what they need to get, or what they want them, or what they are looking for them as far as homework. They like, man, they not worrying about homework. These kids are straight up like, I just got to get to my social media platform, our social media platforms, and then that goes back again with the usage of devices. Reduce cognitive capacity. Studies show that even the mere pressure of a phone can reduce cognitive capacity and interfere with learning. A phone, you can't concentrate. You cannot concentrate at all. You can't concentrate. Definitely, if you go to really major functions, they will tell you, cut them phones off. You don't need to use no phone. And that's what it should be in classrooms. Classrooms are for learning. It's for broadening the kids' mind. It's for teaching them history, teaching them numbers, mathematics, teaching them things that will help them on to grow and off into the future as they go on and be adults and go out into the world and try to have a job and try to make money and have a prosperous living lifestyle and a family. But again, when you got when these cell phones are the main thing, you know, that's all they worried about. That's all they hold. That's all they looking at. They whole involvement is the cell phone. You know, I can imagine that in classrooms today, I can imagine as in fans of my peak, you can imagine this too. You think the cell phones that these teachers attempt to take up and try to get out these kids' hands? Can you imagine them teachers wanted to take them cell phones and just tell them to put them up? Don't use them, because till now, and this is only in certain states, and I'm glad Texas is one of them. I think it's Texas, New York, and I think it's one more. Texas, New York, and I think it's one more state. It might be one more, two more. But kids are not listening when they know they're coming into them classrooms. They're supposed to cut them cell phones off. Kids are not listening to the teachers. Because now, until now, it just, you know, they are here, the teacher will tell them cut the cell phones off, but they're not taking it seriously. You know, they look at the teacher, roll their eyes, and continue as the teacher trying to teach. They looking at their cell phones. And then if a teacher tell them step up to the board and do a math problem. Can you tell me what was going on in history this day or this day? You know, something like that. Or, you know, a geometry problem. Or, you know, just anything. English, you know, how to pronounce a sentence correctly. They not focused on that. They probably didn't even really hear the teacher. They more worried about Kai Sinet, what is he doing, you know, what's going on with certain things, what's the trending right now, you know. They going on, they mostly thinking about what's big rappers making news, you know, celebrities. This really the whole genre of the cell phone and the genre of the social media. And that jumps back to the cell phone. Mental health concerns. Some researchers suggest a link between excessive smartphone use and negative impacts on the youth's mental health. Well, again, you can wear too much of anything. Remember how they used to say kids stop looking at too much TV? And I know a lot of parents now that raising their kids, boy or girl, they don't let them look at a lot of TV. They make them get to them studies. They make them get to them books. It's a time for TV. At a young, tender, adolescent age, they don't let them look at a lot of TV. The same thing with the cell phone. It's a time and a place for a cell phone. It's not all day, every day with these cell phones. So it's going to be a negative impact on them because they're going excessive with it. Everything is not by going to the cell phone. Even though it's a lot of outlets, it's a lot of information, intel when dealing with social media as for the cell phone, but it's still old-fashioned basic things that you need to put the cell phone aside and just learn, pick up, and acquire naturally at a young age or as kids, you know, even high school kids, you know, it's a time and a place for a cell phone. You know, it is a time and a place for your cell phone. I'm surprised now, and it marvels me how these kids do, how some of these kids are able to do the marvelous jobs they doing as far as being student athletes, coming out, you know, making the grade, keeping, you know, going to college, getting scholarships, graduating high school, because they are so occupied with their cell phone. Tension against strict bans. Difficult to enforce. Cell phone bans can be difficult to enforce, and some teachers found themselves hard, and it's challenging to implement. It's going to be very hard to enforce, even though it's going to go down because Texas has passed a law, because still, much of them teachers going to be trying to push it or have pushed it, or the state legislature has pushed it, you know some kid gonna still be trying to sneak on his phone, whether a male or female, and not paying attention to what their teacher is telling them, not paying attention to what's going on in the classroom. They're more, they became accustomed to it now. You know, the homework, the study for the day, if this teacher is trying to teach a lesson for the day, they not worried about that because, again, what they looking at like this. I can go on social media and grab it, or they'll really be saying like, well, you can just text me or send me what the homework, what the lesson as the teacher want to teach for the day. But a lot of teachers want you to learn the old-fashioned way. They want you to come in the classroom and they want you to sit there, concentrate, focus, and learn it as they teaching it and they advising you. They want you to learn it the other way. Educational tools. Some teachers utilize cell phones for interactive learning activities like online quizzes and scavenger hunts. Well, as much as I can imagine, a lot of these teachers are happy that the bans are coming for cell phones. And when you look on the other side, a lot of these teachers are probably really kind of disappointed and kind of probably, angry or sad that the cell phones are going, because I can imagine, much as it being a ban, some of these teachers do use the use of the cell phone in the classroom as a positive, as getting the kids to learn their lessons that they're teaching them. It's getting over and reaching to the kids. See, much as it's a ban, I believe some of the teachers really know how to use it, and they have the attention of their kids with the cell phones. And there was a lot of ways they could, implement, like quizzes, tests, look up certain information, which they don't have to kind of sit there all day and try to tell them or teach it to them. They'll just probably give them a few words or a headline or a title, a title, a headline title or something, and say, well, just go look it up through your cell phone or on the media or the internet. So, again, much as a lot of people probably are with the ban of cell phones, whereas that a small margin or maybe almost, 30% margin, maybe even more than that, probably teachers are probably disappointed that the cell phone ban is coming. But I still have to agree with, yeah, man, cut the cell phones out, because it's just really too much of a distraction. It really is. You have all the time to get on your cell phone. When you're in class focus, you're missing very vital information tending to that cell phone that you should be having your concentration on your teacher and learning the lesson and the class that she's teaching daily and every day, and even that semester. Communication with parents. Cell phones can be a crucial tool for parents to contact their children, especially for emergencies. Well, then that's okay. That's what I'm trying to say. It's okay to have your cell phone for that. But again, that's outside the class when this teacher is trying to teach class. Yeah, cell phones are, an asset as well as they can be a liability. And I agree with that because my grandson has a cell phone. But we practice, we preach to him, and don't use the cell phone. Don't have the cell phone in your pocket. Really have the cell phone out. We would love you to put the cell phone in your locker, but it's so much theft now. At least put the cell phone, as we tell Zion, put the cell phone in your backpack, kid, and cut it off while you're in class. But as long as you're in class and your teacher is telling you the day's lesson or what she wants you as far as to do as far as your studies, cut that cell phone off and put it in your backpack. Don't cut the cell phone off until your class is over with. Because even if we're trying to contact you and the cell phone is off, you turn it on, you can see a missed call, and I get it. People probably saying, well, what if it's an emergency and he's right in the middle of class? Okay, that's true too. But still, what are the odds of that's going to always happen? I think the odds still favor that. Keep the cell phone off, and if we need to contact you, or hopefully if an emergency does happen, we can call you. It'll be, even though you have your phone off, it will be on your missed call or your voicemail. As soon you get done with your class, you walk into your next class, through the hall, turn your cell phone on and see what's going on. Current trends. Statewide bans. Many states are enacting laws or policies restricting cell phones uses in school. Yes, they are. With some banning devices during the entire school day and others focusing on instructional time. Well, I guess you can kind of play it by ear on that. Me, myself, I would go on to shut it down the whole school day. But I'm going to have to go back and pivot and say, if you had a teacher that was using the cell phone with her class and with her kids, and it was a positive, and it was an excessive where they was on their cell phone and missing the point of her teachings or what she's trying, missing the point of view or what she's trying to teach them, and she steady getting her word over or getting her lessons over, getting to her class, and they picking up on what she's saying, then I guess it can be instructional time, basically. I guess it can be that. But I just would think how it is now in an overall view, or overall method for the beginning, let's try this shut the cell phone down in classes, mostly, in the class or through the day, or your whole day at school, through all the classes. It's okay when they, once class let out, and they're probably walking that couple of minutes they got to go to their next class. Even if it's about a minute, that's the time enough to check who called on your cell phone or some messages. But right now, let this try to shut it down. I believe. Let this try to shut it down. How many classes? Say your child taking, 4 or 5 classes. Each class, shut the cell phone down till class is out. He or she can turn it on, cut it off when they go to the next class. Let's just try this for right now, because still the excessive use is shown by the numbers, it's shown by the forensics and the proof that it's a decline in school as far as kids learning. And it's not that they're not smart enough or they're not intelligent enough to learn, but they are so occupied and so involved in their cell phone. Focus on digital literacy. Some experts suggest focus on teaching instead of outright bans from school, teaching students how to use technology responsibly and critically. Well, yeah, you can use that, but you can go use a computer for that. You can go do that. It's a time for that. If you want to go use a computer in a library, that's fine. Because that's the time, if you go to the library, it's going to be quiet anyway. So nobody, basically going to the library, I have did it. That's concentration time too. But what the point I think they trying to state in most of these classrooms and state is it just too excessive? It's too much in the way. It's overtaking the use of a cell phone, is overtaking the purpose of what you're in school for, and that's to learn, that's to absorb, that's to gather information. So when you grow up, and I'm talking about this is from grades K to 12, kindergarten to the 12th grade. When you trying to grow, and then by the time you graduate, you should be ready to go out to the world. You should learn things. You should know things. It takes concentration for that. Use a computer. That's a different thing. Yeah, that's true. Technology has to be used in that. And technology will be used, but not in cell phones and not in the classroom, where the cell phone is becoming more popular than even being in the class. When the cell phone is more popular than learning, when the cell phone is more popular in the classroom than learning in the classroom, you know you got a problem. States who have taken action, as I see it: Texas, Governor Greg Abbott recently signed a bill requires, let me say this, I don't know why we're getting it. Texas Governor Greg Abbott recently signed a bill that requires schools to implement policies prohibiting the use of personal communication devices during school hours. New York, Governor Kathy Holchul signed a law restricting smartphones use during the school day, with exceptions for certain situations. Nebraska, I know there was 3 of them. Nebraska, Governor Jim Pillen signed a law banning phones throughout the school day. You know why these 3 states are one of the main line of something? Because these 3 states are probably high on. It's been a big decline in learning in the classroom. And I stay in Texas myself. All the high schools we have here, big as Texas is, you know, that's not a good look. So I applaud all of the governors. I applaud Governor Abbott. I applaud Governor Holchul, and I applaud Governor Pillen, Texas, New York, and Nebraska. Because, like I said, this is a long time away. This should have been coming. This should have been happening. It's okay to have a cell phone, a smartphone, but it's also proper ways to use it, proper ways to have it, proper ways that you have the cell phone in your hands for the purpose of the cell phone. And the purpose of the cell phone doesn't coexist with being in a classroom. It's not going to miss, because, again, even when I'm on my cell phone, why you think when you at work, whatever you doing, you got a driving job or so and so and so and so, whatever kind of job, and they tell you get off your cell phone, because your cell phone, when you're on it, it takes the concentration, and then you just gonna not be. It takes the concentration. It takes all your concentration, where your focus is on that cell phone, but then you're not concentrating on nothing else, or maybe what you should have been focusing on. So that's what I'm saying. The cell phone is okay. I get it. But it's not for the classrooms. And if it is for the classrooms, possibly have it certain instructional times, but the limitations on that. I'm with the all-day ban. You got enough time to get on your cell phone. You go, look, okay, what we say? You go to class with high school kids or adolescent kids, whatever, go to school, what? Maybe 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., 7 a.m., 2 p.m., 67 hours a day. Okay. It's 24 hours in a day. Counted that you go to school maybe 7 hours, and then you're probably going to sleep 8 hours as a kid, a growing kid. Okay. So that's 15 hours right there. You still got 9 hours to be on that cell phone. Believe me, the cell phone's not going to be left out. It's going to get its time too. But it doesn't need to be in the classrooms. It doesn't need. That's a great look. That's a great look. And I hope that more states, just like Texas, just like New York, and just like Nebraska, will see that eventually the cell phones are going to have to be, prohibited and restricted in the classrooms. No more devices in classroom. 2 cents. This is your man Nino. Thank you.